Hey, this is Derek Sadie with the Business Development Group at Blackboard. I'm just going to do a quick overview of the existing Cengage MindLinks building block and how it works in Learn SaaS with the classic version. So first, let's start with the system admin experience. If the building block is not already installed, the system administrator would need to go to our extensions page and get it. And that's right here at our extensions page. And then you can see the building block is listed here. They just go through a simple process to go ahead and download it. It's all in alphabetical order, but it's right here. On this server I'm going to use, I already have it, but admins, if they don't already have it, can get it from here. Once they've downloaded the building block, if it needs to be installed, they can do that from their building blocks page. So they go to their admin panel, they go to building blocks, they would go to install tools, and they would upload the zip file building block they downloaded. On this server it's already there, and you can see I've got it installed. Once it's installed, it does need an initial configuration. So you can go to the settings area and add in this information. This comes from Cengage. It's provided by Cengage. This is a demo server internally at Blackboard, so this has already been set up. But this registers this Blackboard environment with the MindLinks platform. And so once the system admin goes through, make sure that these values are valid, decides on any settings that are applicable to this building block, maps the roles. These are very typical things for integration. They would go ahead and submit this. And if you return to this page, you just want to make sure that it's been successfully registered. And so once that's done, that's great. What happens with this, even though this is a building block, once the building block has been installed and made available, like you see there, it will then show up to instructors within their commercial content carousel, or what we call Partner Cloud. And so once it's installed, the admin can also see that it's in the list. If they go to Partner Cloud settings, it will be available in the list down here under Cengage, and they can also get to those same settings here and decide if they want to make it available. Once it's on at this point, it then shows up for instructors within the course experience. So let's take a look at the instructor experience. Once the building block has been installed, configured, and activated by the Blackboard system admin, the Cengage integration will then be available to instructors from within their course. So on this server here, I've got the most current version of the Partner Cloud building block. It's almost the most current version of Blackboard Learn, as well as the most current version of the Partner Cloud building block. So you'll see the old content carousel is not there anymore, and now it's been tiles, but actually it's the same functionality. So I'm going to go into my course, and in this example here, I've not yet done anything as an instructor. I've not signed on, I've not paired a course, so you're going to see the initial process. The first time single sign-on is really only once. Once the instructor does their user association, they'll never be asked that again, even in a different course on the same server. So they won't need to repeat that part. When I go in, so I'm in my course here, I'm going to navigate into a content area, and I'm going to go into this first folder here I have. And what I want to do is kind of in one step, associate my user account from this Blackboard environment to the Cengage platform. I then want to pick a course. I then want to ultimately add one or more links from that Cengage course and deploy them here into my Blackboard Learn course. So when I'm done, I want this page to have additional links that link out to that Cengage content. So I'm going to go to my Partner Cloud menu and choose Content Market. This is that new tile view. I'm going to locate the partner, in this case Cengage Learning. And because this is the first time I'm doing this, it's going to want me to sign in with my existing Cengage credentials. So I have to have these. If I don't have them, I have to get them. I can also walk through the create an account and functionality and make my way back here, but ultimately I need a Cengage Learning faculty account. So I have one. I'm going to go ahead and log in. It'll tell me that it's registered, and in a moment it'll redirect me to the next process, which involves selecting a course. So you can see here I'm gonna use my microeconomics course. So I'm going to choose it. It'll load the content, and so here what I'm seeing is a dynamic, kind of granular linkable list of linkable objects that live in my MindTab course. So you see it's kind of broken out by, in this case, chapters, chapter 1, post and pre, and so on. And I can also I can preview them, I can kind of know from the icon that this might be a video, this is something to be read. I also know which items are going to be gradable. So that's important. The ones that have the add to gradebook item, that it's pre-checked by default. So if I decide to deploy this item, what's going to happen is I will get a link to this chapter 1 quiz in my Blackboard course, but also because this add to gradebook button is checked, I'm going to also get a automatically created Grade Center column that corresponds to this Chapter 1 quiz in my Blackboard course. And that column will automatically update as students take the quiz, and I don't have to manage it. Very convenient part of any integration. So I'm going to pick 2 items here. I'm going to pick the learning objectives as well as this Chapter 1 quiz. I'll confirm my selections, kind of get a confirmation page. I'll hit save, and then it'll tell me that the import is complete, and then in a couple seconds it'll give me one last confirmation page. So here is set back to the Blackboard course side, and it's showing me these are the 2 links I'm about to add. One of them is going to get a Grade Center column, which makes sense because this is that quiz. It's a 9-point value. I could also, on the fly, redirect these. So I started this process from my chapters folder and my Chapter 1 folder, and that's where they're going to go. I could browse and actually redirect these items in my course map if I wanted to and decide to deploy them somewhere else. I don't, but that's what that browse button there is there for. So I'll go ahead and hit submit, and just like I said, now I'm going to end up with the Chapter 1 quiz and Chapter 1 learning objectives have now been added to the course. Now, when these items are clicked by a user, so in this case I'm still here as instructor, I'm going to be taken directly to that item in the Cengage platform with context. So I'm going to go over, in this case, with my instructor credentials. I'm going to see it as if an instructor clicked on it because I'm an instructor. In a moment, we'll show the student experience. So if I click on learning objectives, the Cengage integrations open in a new window. So let me just resize this so you can see it here. And it's going to take me to that resource in my course, and it's going to load. And here it is. Now from this point, I could, continue reading this item. I can jump around the other tools. I can also leave this item and move on to other things that might be in my course if that's what I want to do. So I still got Blackboard open behind this window. In this point, I'm just going to close this window and I can go about my business with the rest of my course. What also happened when I deployed this, because this quiz was gradable, if I go to the Grade Center in this course and look at my full Grade Center, I'm going to now see that pre-lecture Chapter 1 quiz, and it's going to be in here. So you'll notice there's already some scores. That's because I've got some demo students that have already taken this on in my Cengage course, and because this course is paired, those grades kind of make their way over. We're going to repeat this with a brand new user so you can see what it looks like in just a moment. So that's the instructor experience of the initial course pairing. If I were to go back to a content area in my course, let's say I go into the second area, because I've already done this, now when I choose Content Market, I am going to see that my Cengage MindLinks course icon is now used in this course. So that shortcut was not there before, but it's there now. And I can just continue through the way I would normally do. I'm not going to be asked for anything additional, but that shortcut is saved for this course. So that's the basic instructor experience of pairing their Blackboard Learn course to in this case, a MindTap course, and then deploying some content. And we also picked a piece of gradable content so you can see what that looks like. And then we'll move on to the student experience. Great, so the last thing we want to do here is show off the student experience of the integration. So in this particular case, the system admin's already installed a building block, it's been configured, it's set up. The instructor's already gone into their Learn course, they've paired the course, they've added content. So now I'm coming in as a first-time student user in my instructor's course in Blackboard. So in this case here, let's say I go in the chapters area, and I can see in the Chapter 1 folder, my instructor has made some things available, and maybe I want to either take this quiz or look at these learning objectives. We'll start with the learning objectives, and then I'll move on to the quiz. So this is the first time this student has attempted to click one of these Cengage linked objects in this course in Blackboard, so you're going to see the full initial experience. So I'm going to click the link, and it's going to launch over to launch you over to the Cengage side. And because I'm a first-time user, I'm going to be walked through this initial first-time process. So I need to kind of go ahead and do this. So I don't already have an account, so I can go ahead and create one. So I'm a brand new student, so I'll go ahead and create an account. And I'm going to go ahead and register. So I've got a fake student user that I'm going to make. And so we've got, here's my email address. This is my fake student is Justin Davis. Myself a password. So I'll go ahead and create my account. So this is going to create my account for Cengage that I can then use for other things. But now that I've gone through this, Now that I've created this account, I can actually use it to log in. So it tells me I can close this window, and it'll return me to the window. So I'm going to go ahead and use my brand new account that I've created and log in. So I'm going to log in with my email address and I just did this. Because this is my initial login, I'll have to go through the service agreement as a student. So I can scroll through this, go ahead and hit accept, and then it kind of confirms the course that I'm going to be entering. So I go ahead and enter. And because I've not yet paid, and also depending on the situation with a given course, I may or may not get a prompt for an access code. So in that process there, I may be asked for a access code or 14-day trial. I'm on a demo server, and some of these can vary, but that happens during that initial process. Also, it may expire in those 14 days, then prompt me to create, pay for my account. So here's a student experience. I find the learning objectives, and I can go ahead, read this, and peruse through the rest of this course. Blackboard's still open in the window behind, so when I'm done, I can just close the window, and I'm back in my Blackboard course. Now, in this case, that initial user account creation, single sign-on has happened for the student. What happens now if I go to take, for example, a gradable item? So let's take that Chapter 1 quiz. I'm going to click that, but because I've done my sign-in already, I'm not going to be asked all those questions again. It's going to take me directly to the quiz. And so I'm going to quickly go through the quiz just to generate a grade. And so I'm just going to move through and generate a grade. And actually, quick 9 questions. I'm going to do it very quickly. That's my quiz. So now that I've done this, it tells me I've got my 44%, and I can go ahead and review. But once I'm going to end up closing this, and I'm going to come back to Blackboard. Now, keep in mind, I can continue on this course or not, but now that I'm done with my quiz, I'm going to close this window. Back here in my Blackboard course, if I go to the My Grades area, I'm going to see that this quiz grade has automatically come over. And I can go ahead and see any details that might be there, or jump directly back over to that quiz to see it. So nothing needs to happen, no synchronization, it's in real time, and the grade makes its way over. Same thing for the instructor. If I revisit the Grade Center as the instructor, now that one of my students has taken my quiz, I'm going to see that they now have a grade ready to go in the quiz. I can also then jump to the details of that attempt from the Blackboard Grade Center. And so it lets me make sure that those grades come over, and the grade is maintained on the MindTap side, but it's synchronized automatically with any correlated Blackboard Grade Center column. So that's a quick overview of that student experience, both a graded and non-graded content.